Love raw vegetables. You ever notice that sometimes when you're doing your research, you come across a thought and a whim and you decide to dig a little bit deeper? There's a lot of inspirational people that they trigger keys in your mind. I think that's the best way to say it. See, if we only use a small percentage of our mind for calculations, computation, thought, memory, and to process information, then is it possible that if you was to break that mind down into a bloodstream of liquid, that some of these areas, even though these are the functional areas of the brain that everybody use, maybe the topography is a little bit different for some of us, and then when you hear something intelligent online from other YouTubers, is it possible that it can ignite certain key pieces? Because if that wasn't the case, then that's where lectures and apprenticeships and teachings come from. But I just thought of something, and I was looking it up. If everything we do is based on the model of power, which is physics and math, and everything has a current, even land has a current. Wind has a current, air has a current, electricity has a current, and water has a current. And we were thinking that basically the topography of how human beings are catered toward race, how we're categorized and we're boxed and we're indexed and we're sectioned out from each other, wouldn't it be feasible to think that the reason why a lot of my African-American brothers and sisters, why we, and I always say we, I always notice a lot of YouTubers say y'all, like they ain't black. Like I'm doing well financially, education-wise, but I'm still in the struggle with my brothers and sisters while I'm on here now. But wouldn't it make sense that the topography will be more to what the ocean is sectored to, where you are a predator that you can prey on your own because crabs can eat themselves. Certain urchins at the bottom of the sea or certain mussels or certain shellfish can devour and eat each other. They practice cannibalism all the time. Just like in the projects. They're all grouped at the bottom of the totem pole, which is the base. So don't think it's bad, but it's horrible how it feels because it's almost cursed. What I'm trying to say is, with the projects, whites have been through the projects, Jews have been through the projects, and now you have a lot of heavily melanated people like us who have either served, worked, trying to give back, been incorporated or working in the projects. What I'm trying to say is this. The projects is the base of the American economy. Don't you notice that the people at the lowest atmosphere spend the most money? The people at the lowest atmosphere, the lowest altitude possible, spend the most money. They don't know anything but retail. And how do you know if you're in the lowest altitude or lowest atmosphere? Because you say stuff out of your mouth like hood rich. Or you respond to different things in a male and female context instead of talking about human beings in general and attitudes and breaking that attribute up. Okay, here we go. This thing's got my mind going. But just like in the ocean, the biggest, most powerful predator that I can date right now is the shark. And they call it the great white, when in fact the shark is not white. It's grayish brown and black. It's like a high teal gray, like with a golden gray, depending on what parts of the water they're in. I only seen about 5 of them, so I ain't gonna say I'm an expert on it. But they're grayish, like a slimy cream gray, you know? And they are the ultimate predators of the city, always moving, constantly moving, never rest, never go to sleep, never stay still. The next on their hierarchy that probably runs things are, I don't know what, swordfish, tuna, orca, small, the whales, the black and white whales, whatever the hell they call it, and the damn, the dolphins. You know, there's a lot of hierarchies, but the orcas are black and white. They're all black, but they have white over their eyes. And then the dolphins, which seem to get along really well, are gray. Now, if I'm confusing you, I'm sorry, I apologize. But maybe this thought will trigger something in your mind as you do your research. But when you drive around a rich neighborhood, you will notice, well, people who are doing fairly well financially, I'm going to say that. Rich is a statement that can be clarified or denied. But people who are doing financially well, that knows what's up with credit cards and that knows what's up with saving your finances and the importance of sending your children to college and giving them after-school opportunities like dance, martial arts, you know, carpentry, construction, things that allow them to survive on their own. Because what we try to do is we say to ourselves, if you have some intelligence and you're forecasting what the world's going to be like, you say to yourself, what happens when the gas runs out and there's no more food coming to the grocery store? There are going to be three types of sanctions. They're going to be the sanctioned people who are armed and those who are unarmed. There's going to be those who are protected and who are planned and are going to go underground. And they're going to leave the rest of us to fend to ourselves during the purge. and if you don't know how to handle a weapon, you ain't never been in a range, regardless of what your religious belief is, this is the thing. The person that plans on shooting you does not care about the God you worship. So you need to know your calibers, you need to know your maximum effective range of weapons, and you need to have an arsenal in your house. Everyone in your house needs to know how to shoot. Everyone in your house needs to know how to hunt. Everyone in your house needs to know how to garden and plant food. Everyone in your house needs to know how to forage for wood, supplies, filter water, use sunlight to your advantage, invest in solar cells, battery backups, USB solar powered things they're going to allow you to still have civilization even though the infrastructure may fall. Know the maximum effective range of certain outdoor field walkie-talkies. Know how to build a perimeter around your house. Know how to board up your home, not just for hurricanes, but for people. It's like, God damn, where did this come from? Talking about the ocean. Well, I'm talking about the ocean because it's the hierarchy of who floats at the top of the water and who runs that ocean. And money is our currency, and currency has a cash flow. So therefore, if we are flowing in that cash flow, then we are not in a nothing but a big ass river, ocean, bay, stream. That's what we're doing. So you got to think about the attributes of what each and every predator does. What does a shark do when you come into its midst? It's either going to take a taste of you, or devour you, or just kill you, but it's not going to spit you out. That's something similar to what the top market people on the planet do right now. Oh, I call them top market. I'm not going to say they're supremacists. I'm not going to give nobody that title. But the top market people on the market right now, they'll take a bite of you, taste you, chew you up, but they won't spit you out. They'll just throw you to the other sharks that's trying to be a great white shark. But what I was trying to tell you, when you roll around some of these neighborhoods and you look at it, statistically, there are more black-owned businesses on the planet than you think. And it's not just hair and nail shops. There are actual serious counseling, PhD, medical pharmaceutical companies, doctorate, lawyer companies, engineer, computer science, than you think, more than what you think. All right, so you got to open up your channels to not only the bad news, but the good news as well. And one more thing, well, two more things. When you're driving around a rich neighborhood, you're going to notice that there's some really commonly, some cars that you say, oh man, they riding that bullshit. Nobody up here buys Bentleys, all that shit that Jay-Z and them be showing you. Nobody spends $1.8 million on a car. It's like less than 0.002% of the population on the planet that buys that shit. Do you know who buys the majority of the high-end marketed merchandise and items that are advertised the most? Black women and black men. In that order. Black women and black men. Black women will buy more expensive whips because they have more money in capital because they took their ass to college. And most brothers get married and they buy their wife. Listen to me. They buy their wife that expensive vehicle. But black people buy a lot of expensive vehicles. A whole lot of expensive vehicles. Like, what good does it do you to ride around in an $80,000 car when you still got to put $60 worth of gas in it every 2 weeks or a week? You know? I think the Tesla is an excellent car. But this is coming from a guy that used to own Toyotas and Scion. So. But I think the Tesla is an excellent car. But when you drive around some of these neighborhoods where they got $2 million houses, $3 million houses, the most you're going to find is maybe a Mercedes, a Jag, a BMW Jeep, a Mercedes Jeep, Volvo this, Volvo that. But mainly you're going to find a lot of fuel-efficient cars. And I think a lot of people around this neighborhood, what they do is they have these cars to show and tell, to keep up an image, to keep themselves marketable in the job or the profession they work in. Most brothers and sisters that buy those expensive cars, you may probably do the same thing. But a lot of y'all are just wasting your money on trying to get past other black folks, making them feel bad that they ain't got what you got. Just why, like, I'm posting these screens. It's envy. It's envy, you know. This is my little research center, my little surround sound / studio. And I know why I bought it because it was all on sale Black Friday. I know why I put it together because I know what I use it for. I use it for entertaining my family. So this is not just for me. This is for the whole family. Video games, watching things, researching things, doing my homework. Multiple research screens helps to get out a 50-page paper really fast. And not just copying and paste, but, you know, finding different ideas of how you can put it in your own words, you know, aligning yourself to your intelligence azimuth. But really think about the hierarchy of the ocean between predator and prey. Who is the tunas? Who are the crabs? The ones that bottom feeders, the ones that are at the very bottom. They'll eat just about anything. Well, I just wanted to share that. Probably didn't make no sense. But I'm telling you what I love is that about 2 months ago, I wrote a book. And just like being on YouTube, I realized that I had a lot of anger in my post. And there's some things you got to accomplish, you know, through the faith of God. And there's some things you got to really look in the mirror and say, you know, why do I feel like that? And why is an interpersonal question that only you can answer? But yeah, I wrote this book. And as I started to read this book, you know, I was like, man, I wrote a book. As I started to read this book was loaded with anger. Perspectives and point of views that would not help a child, man, or woman accomplish nothing in their future. The whole purpose of why I wrote the book is to help a 13-year-old almost graduate to the age of 33 through knowledge and perspectives. Instead, I set them back 20 years, which means they wasn't even looking at the world in a positive light. You know what I did with that damn book? Delete. Didn't save not one note from it. I deleted all the material that I had from that book because I feel that now I'm going to be able to write something that's actually going to help young men and women get ahead for this new future that's coming, a fuel-efficient future, a future that lives one with the earth, where people get along. There's never